Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So the summer transfer window is officially open and Chelsea got about 30 players joining the club this month, if that's returning loanees or new summer signings. So I think it's the perfect time to have a look at the options and make some tough decisions on who stays, who gets loaned and who gets sold. I'm going to break it down into 5 video sections because there's so many. Goalkeepers, defenders, midfielders, attacking midfielders and then forwards. In this series I'm also taking into account non-homegrown rules. With us being in the Champions League this season, we can only register 17 non-homegrown players. So we're going to have to make some decisions, not just based on talent, sometimes on registration limits. If you've ever wondered how some of these decisions are made, this is for you. Alright, that's intro out the way, let's get into it. Part 1, the goalkeepers. So here we have it with a keep, loan, listen to offers and sell. It's kind of self-explanatory what them sections will be, so I'm not going to delve into that. But we've got in the top left a non-homegrown count, and we've got a maximum of 17 that we can use in Europe. I'm going to do it for Europe because Premier League rules are a bit more relaxed, so it's not much of a worry. But when you get into Europe, it's a bit different, so I'm going to do it in that section, focus on that bit because we're now in the Champions League, and this is where we'll potentially have a headache or two just picking one or two at the end, which ones you have to pick. So I'm going to do it with that, and when I pick a player in the keep, if the non-homegrown, I'm going to add on to it so you know where we're up to. But with that out of the way, let's just get into it. So first of all, we've got Ted Curd, and I'd be keeping him. I know people will be thinking, why are you keeping Ted Curd? When you've let Bergstrom go on a free, he was a homegrown player. We've let Bettinelli go to Manchester City. He was homegrown, and for 4 seasons, Bettinelli was here and he only made 1 appearance. And I'm not against that. I'm not moaning about that, but that shows you what happens to a third choice, fourth choice goalkeeper. Bergstrom got on the bench 37 times and never made an appearance before leaving this summer. So that tells you 1 appearance from both of them in that 4 seasons. So it shows how much the third choice is needed. I'm not saying you just throw it at the wall and just say we don't need one, but you do need one. But I feel like it's a slot that you don't use on a non-homegrown player. I think you use it with somebody that doesn't take up one of your non-homegrown players, and for me it's one of Ted Curd or Merrick that get the slot because they're more than ready to take a chance if really needed, but they're also there to develop around the squad, get experience of being around the squad, being around these Champions League nights, being on the bench potentially. So yeah, I'd keep him around. And as I've mentioned just quickly, Merrick, he's going to be on my loan section, but this isn't locked in. It could be Ted Curd that goes out on loan and Max Merrick that we keep. I'm not 100% locked in on these ideas. It's more, we'll see what offers they get. And if Ted Curd gets a better offer, then yeah, potentially we send Ted Curd out on loan and keep Merrick. As I say, I'm not set on this, and we will see. One of them should stick around if we sign another goalkeeper. He's non-homegrown. Next up, we've got Slonina, and I'd be listening to offers. I'll give you some of my reasons why. He's 21 years old, and I know that's not old, and especially for a goalkeeper, that's pretty young. But he's been here 3 seasons now, going into his 4th season with us. He's been out on loan 2 seasons. He went out on loan to a Belgium side and got relegated. He's been out on loan in League One and got recalled in January last season. And with him not being a homegrown player, using a non-homegrown player to have him around the squad feels a bit silly. When you get into the real depth of the squad, when we build it right up, you'll see that using a slot on him to not really to use him would be a bit silly. And for his career, if he stays around and doesn't play, I don't think it'll be beneficial. And when we've signed Mike Penders this summer, I feel like he jumps ahead of him anyway. So if Mike Penders goes on loan and comes back next season and Slonina stays around this season, by next season I don't think he'll have a chance here anyway. So listen to offer, but it's not locked in. He could be sent out on loan and he could go again back out on loan in England to a League One side, and I'm not against that, but it's not somebody that I'm saying we have to keep around or we have to definitely send out on loan and keep my faith in him, because as I said, we've got now Penders, he's already ahead of him and he's 2 years younger than him. Next up, we've got Teddy Sharman-Lowe, and he had a very good season out at Doncaster Rovers. He's now 22 years old. He got promoted as champion. Got interest from Bolton that are in League One, a step up in league, and for that reason, I'd be sending him out on loan. I feel like he's a good level now in the league pyramid, letting him kick on in his career and keep progressing and getting game time. He's now an England under-21 international. He's in the Euro squad that are playing right now in the competition. So I feel like for his career, for his sake, a loan would be best for him to just keep kicking on, because League One is a very good level for a goalkeeper, and I think he should go and do it instead of being a third choice goalkeeper at Chelsea, and he's not got enough game time. So yeah, he's a loan for me. Next, we've got Kepa, and I think we all know where this one's going, but I want to quickly mention our club did a really good thing last summer. We give him an extension on a contract, and I know people are thinking, yeah, his writing on the wall was to be sold, but last summer his market value wasn't that great after being out on loan at Real Madrid. He got benched for Lunin, so he wasn't even second choice goalkeeper. He felt like he was third choice goalkeeper with Courtois out. So we give him a new deal, and we actually took his book value off the deal. So we had him on a 7-year deal, and we were spending like 7 million a year over that contract. But we give him a new deal, and that wiped it off because it was like a new extension. We took his wages down and we sent him out on loan, and we're now actually getting a figure for him. So we took a book value off him last season. We took his wages off our bill this season, and we didn't use an international loan slot, because last season we used him an international loan slot, sending him out on loan to Real Madrid. But this year we sent him in England. He had a good season, and he's now getting sold for 5 million, so we're making a profit. So yeah, he's a sell, but I want to give credit to the club for doing that move. I think it was a smart move, so credit to them. So next up, we've got Penders, and we agreed a deal last summer to sign him this summer. So he's only just joined, but he's gone on the Club World Cup squad. 19 years old, and he's come from the Belgium League. So the jump up from Belgium League to England is massive, and he's dubbed the new Courtois because maybe he's high. He's got qualities that I understand why them comparisons are made. I don't want to sit here and pretend that I know an awful lot about him. I've tracked him for the last year, but I've only watched highlights. But what I've seen is he's good at shot stopping, and he's good in the air at catching crosses and stuff like that. So I do like what I've seen, but when I'm talking about Courtois, that kind of reminds me that with Courtois, we sent him on loan to Atletico Madrid for 3 seasons, and I think with Penders, it's probably the best that he does that as well, not to Atletico Madrid, but out on loan and get game time. He's 19 years old, and for a goalkeeper, he needs that game time to progress, and coming from Belgium to England, maybe better to go and make mistakes elsewhere than get them here and make them here, because I think the fans will turn on him quickly. For me, it'll probably be best to go and make the mistakes elsewhere. It's a really hard position to play goalkeeper, because make a mistake in 99% of the time result you're conceding, and then the blame does get on you. But making a mistake up front and you misplace a pass, it's not as crucial as making a mistake in goals. So for me, I'd send him out on loan, because if you did keep him around and put him in the European squad, he'd use a non-homegrown slot. And for me, it would be beneficial to just send him out on loan and get game time than have a homegrown slot on him and not really play him, and him not play much. Even though I do like keeping players around and progressing them here, I just don't feel like it's worth our while on a goalkeeper when we're potentially going to sign one. So next up, we've got Jorgensen, and I'd actually be listening to offers. It's not somebody that I'd be like pushing to sell, but he's not somebody that I'd be pushing to keep. He'd be using up a non-homegrown slot if you keep him, and if you sign somebody, then he'd be using the second one. And for me, he didn't impress me enough to say stick around, but he didn't do it bad enough for me to say sell. So he's in the listen to offers. For me, he did okay. He made some good shot stopping saves in the Conference League, but we need to remember that it was the Conference League, and now we're in the Champions League, and we're now pushing to get top 4. And if he didn't push his way into the side when Sanchez was making mistakes and Merrick didn't seem to fully trust him, I don't think much is going to change in that fact. And if we do sign a goalkeeper, I feel like his chances of sticking around are going to be less, because Sanchez is homegrown, and you probably keep a homegrown player that's number 1 then. So next up, we've got Robert Sanchez, and for me, he'd be a sell. For me, he's not good enough, and he makes too many mistakes. I'll hold my hands up. He had a very good end of the season, and he made some crucial saves to get us Champions League football. But as we kick on, and now we are in Champions League, we're pushing to get better in the Premier League. I think there needs to be a goalkeeper that we're confident that won't make mistakes, and for me, Sanchez isn't that. I do hold my hands up that he counts as a homegrown player if he's in Europe, so there is that thing about him that potentially he could stick around and be the goalkeeper as number 2, and then you can use the third slot on somebody like Slonina and it doesn't really affect it. But for me, I'd be looking to sell. And then lastly, we've got Petrovic. We signed him 2 years ago. Didn't have the best of seasons when he was here. He had an okay season. He came in for Sanchez when he was injured and he had some good games and he had some okay games. He made a few mistakes. But then he went on loan at Strasbourg this season and he's had a good season. And for me, he's showed that he's very good with the ball. He's been a lot more assured at making shot saves and being a lot better at claiming crosses. And I do like him and I'd keep him around. And then it's a decision. Do you keep him as number one and buy a backup number two, or keep Sanchez and Jorgensen? Or do you upgrade and have him as a number two and you buy like a quality goalkeeper? And for me, I'll be buying another goalkeeper and it'd probably be somebody that's non-homegrown. So that'll be adding it up to number two. But I'm not going to add him here because he's not signed. So that is where we're up to with the goalkeepers. Let me know in the comment section. What would you do with these 9 players? Would you keep, loan, listen to offers and sell? Have I got it right? Have I got it wrong? Get in the comment section and let me know. So there we have it for part 1 of keep, loan, listen to offers or sell. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you got a bit of information from this and learnt something from it. Come back tomorrow and I'll be doing the defenders section of part 2. Hit the like button. I'm aiming to get 20 likes. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.